Nefeli, we're here at ADIPEC. Now, we met probably 6 months ago. We were chatting about all you're up to in subsurface.
Yes.
What's new?
What's new? There's been a lot of development, unsurprisingly, in the Gen AI space, and maybe more unsurprisingly on the Agentic AI side.
True.
So I think last time we had spoken about a foundation model for the seismic subdomain. That model, we're currently almost done training it to be a 3D model, which means that now it'll be interpreted as a cube as opposed to just images. So significantly more robust solution as far as what it could provide to geoscientists, geophysicists, etc.
Oh, wow.
It's very exciting. And then the next step, I don't know, there was an announcement yesterday, SLB announced Tela, which is their agentic AI platform. Discussing with them, it sounds like a lot of the work that we've been doing with them will lead into those agents. And it's wonderful to see, SLB as well as other companies, but really focusing on building these agents, these assistants. Really, how do I make the life of the workforce easier and give them the information that they need without actually, removing the very mundane work, right, of gathering data and trying to get to the right information, et cetera, right? So really focusing in to accelerate the work that they're doing. And we're seeing a lot of interest there. AIQ had another announcement around that. And so all these companies, we're all thinking AI first, which is, a significant step change from what we used to see, right? Where AI could be a solution, but weren't necessarily leading with it. But now we're really seeing, especially at ADIPEC, a lot of companies leading into AI and how they can use it in energy.
Well, we were chatting earlier, like the AI zone is
Yeah.
just on the other side of the windows over there. And I spent a good bit of time in there. What I found fascinating here this week is my kind of key takeaway was the focus on autonomous operations.
Yes.
Now, where I'm very enthused about that is that it's not focused about the technology that enables it. This is the business reason. Right. Now, how do I get autonomous operations? All sorts of AI, agentic AI, yes. Robots, yes. Physical AI. So what do you like? If I may, we're kind of even moving away from the technology. It's like, here's the business reason.
Yeah. A lot of the business reason is, unsurprisingly, to create a safer working environment for, people that are working either offshore or in remote operations. So how do you leverage AI and robotics and autonomous operations to be able to facilitate a lot of the ongoing work, right? Again, think of it as, one way that you are removing the mundane and just the repetitive tasks that humans are doing in these types of operations, and replacing that with robotics and operations that can just be automated, right? And let's put the people that are experts in their areas to do the max work that they can do while they're in those operations and in those environments that, are harsh environments to work in. Absolutely. But from a technology standpoint, being my area of excitement as well is the interest in leveraging robotics more and more. I'm having more and more conversations about how do we build it, how do we deploy it, how do we scale it. So physical AI being like the foundation model and the training of these robots to then deploy in the real world, that's really where a lot of the excitement is coming on from the technological side.
Well, if I may, and it's kind of hard to keep up with NVIDIA these days. There's too many things going on.
Yeah.
But what I've seen when we met at GTC and what you've been doing in the last even 6 months, what you're doing with the physical AI, with Omniverse, the mega models, now industrial AI for factories, you're giving an awful lot of people the building blocks.
Right.
And so I've been running around the halls here for the last 2 days. And as you say, the amount of robotics, and robots are like, there's different ones, right? There's some real clunky things that crawl around, walk around on 4 legs for ATEX environments.
Yes.
Because that's what you need.
Right.
Obviously, I am highly enthused about the amount of humanoid robots running around. Now, you have got to hand it to Unitree, their G1 𝐜𝐡. Yeah. Unitree are here, Yokogawa. I think I've seen 6 or 7. Yeah. And of course, everyone's like, wow, this thing's real. But the ability to be able to take those platforms, if you like, get all the data, but then it's turning it back into how do I process that data. A robot doesn't give you autonomous operations. It's all the AI and the systems behind the scenes.
Correct. No, I mean, from a technological standpoint, it's a massive undertaking, right? Because we have to build a digital representation of the area that these robotics will be deployed in. So we're talking about massive digital twins, whether that be, remote operations, whether it be a platform, whatever the environment that the robot needs to be deployed in, is humanoid or otherwise, but especially when we're talking about humanoids, because they are trying to walk and act, like a human. So the amount of training required is massive. When it comes to robotics, if we think of the first one that was really autonomous, is like the self-driving car.
Yeah.
And the self-driving car on its own required, I think, over 8 million hours of training. And without a virtual environment to train those cars in, to understand the roads, understand different objects that come into the road, understand different weather, understand, all of these different external factors that impact driving the car, that a human can't do it. So we rely on these digital twins, and it's the same idea when it comes to robotics and humanoids being deployed in the real world. So it is very exciting that, the industry, for something that I have been excited to talk about for some time, but the industry is really seeming to embrace it, and I'm really happy to see it. There was another company, I think they're called Gecko, and
Yes.
they stick to the side of the facilities.
For metal
Yes.
thickness, corrosion.
Yes, absolutely. So, another layer of innovation, right? We're not just talking humanoids, now we're talking robots that will stick to the wall to understand the environment in which it's operating. So it's amazing what we're seeing just within this conference, but also over the last about 6 months, how much development there's been.
Well, I was chatting to a lot of the usual players here over the last couple of days, and it is fascinating to see what I would call them breaking down the silos.
Yeah.
You've got the EPCs, and you've got the PNID models,
Right.
and you've got the reality capture, and you've got the IoT systems and whatever. And they are starting to join them all, whether you call it digital thread or some digital twin of everything, whatever buzzwords you want to use, because then you deploy the robot, you get the scans, you get the real-time data. It all feeds back. I can integrate it into a workflow,
Right.
as opposed to it's another standalone application, and now what do I do with it?
Right.
Now that's not easy, but obviously what you're doing with OpenUSD, yada yada yada, that's like creating all the little building blocks that you can start putting the stuff together.
No, absolutely. But also it's nice to see, because one of the bigger issues within companies that we've been discussing over the last not even the last 6 months, for several years, is just internal data silos.
Yeah.
Right? Between different groups, between different teams, between different, business units, etc. So now we're coming into a space where those need to be removed for this technology to be integrated. And so I think there's overall that also the shift of collaboration, even internally, does need to be significantly, better. I've had conversations with, companies where I've had several different meetings with several different teams, and they're asking for the exact same solution. And so I think this is really, highlighting that that's being broken down slowly, but also this different technology that is newer, let's say. Not that robots haven't been used, right? They have I can't remember what they're called actually. The robots that are on the seafloor that are for
Some of the mining or surveying
exactly.
and stuff.
So those are solutions that have been used, but at this level, this solution that we're talking about, it really is, breaking down those silos, which is needed for this industry.
Well, we were chatting the last couple of times in Paris as well at GTC. I'm dating myself now, but 15 years ago, when I was in Intel, we were out with drones, and people were going, "This is great! I can get all the data." But now I have a CD with 50,000 photographs from today and 50,000 photographs from last. Now what do I do? Roll forward. You now have the AI, the software that'll do all that mapping for you, and then feed it into the maintenance systems, and so it is that integration. And I do believe that the drive for AI in companies is the biggest driver I've seen for breaking down the silos. Because the laws of physics, you need more data.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But also it's nice. I mean, right now the compute is not the issue. right? In the
True.
past, we were maybe worried about compute capacity, capability, the size of, hardware that we're running on, edge compute, what size GPU could put at the edge. That is no longer necessarily the blocker. Now we're just talking about innovation, which is fantastic to see as well, right? So as we continue to develop these solutions, which is, first of all, incredible to see just the speed at which new technology is coming out. Right. We always talk about ChatGPT being that pivotal moment when it really started and accelerating from GenAI to Agentic AI, now into physical AI. But really impressive over the last 3 years how much innovation there's been in AI in general, and also, the excitement from the industry to adopt this technology. Given that, maybe in the past it wasn't as quick to adopt new technologies, and understandably so. It's a very high risk environment. It's a very, if you make a mistake, human lives are at risk.
Bad things
It's
happen.
very important to be safe. But it is wonderful to see that we're trying to figure out a way to leverage this effectively in operations today.
Yeah, no, as I said, that my big takeaway was every time about autonomous operations.
Yeah.
It's the business driver.
Yeah.
It's not the cool shiny toy.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I'm the cool shiny toy guy, but at the same time, there's a lot of people here with agentic AI, physical AI, but it's here's how this is the piece of the puzzle to get you that autonomous
Right.
operations. Now, it's hard to keep up with you guys, but what? Anything keeping you, or what's you have the new model coming out? Anything else you're looking forward to?
We are, in general, excited to keep up with this momentum, right? We're very excited, and we're continuing to work on different AI models, right? Different foundation models for different subdomains of the energy industry. So I mentioned the seismic one before, which, is very cool as a solution, because if you think about it from a technical standpoint, the model needs to understand the seismic slices and the images that it's reading, and it needs to be able to interpret it, and it needs to understand what it's seeing. Because
Agreed.
if you invert a picture of a cat or a dog, it remains a cat or a dog. But if you invert a picture of the subsurface, it doesn't necessarily align with, what we're actually seeing. So the models to understand it from a technical standpoint is key and fascinating, is what we're doing, and how we've been able to leverage architecture that was meant for uh, uh, vision transformer models for regular images has now become something used for scientific images. But we're developing solutions on the log side, on the drilling side. We're talking about reservoir. Like, there are all of these different subdomains that we are now starting to accelerate our engagement in. So that's very exciting. As a former reservoir engineer, I'm particularly excited about the reservoir engineering and simulation one. And then, of course, building all the agents that will support all of those, not only the engineers, but will tie into those foundation models and then tie into the different software that's used. That's really exciting.
And when we talk about subsurface, obviously oil and gas, the
Yes.
traditional, but a lot going on in geothermal these days.
There is a lot going on in
Thankfully,
geothermal.
because I think that's an underutilized resource around the world.
Yes.
I'm still a big believer in hydrogen.
Yeah.
People are still looking at hydrogen
Yeah.
caverns, a whole different feature set. But same technology that can help in
Absolutely.
all this. Right?
We have seen significant uptick in startups that are interested in geothermal, that are producing geothermal. Like, that is the only thing that they do, which is a little bit of a shift. Usually it was in addition to an oil and gas company, like it's their plus. Now we're seeing startups
It's new.
really focused on the geothermal side, given power requirements are increasing globally, right? And we're not just talking within the US, within the Middle East. We are talking also about power requirements in countries where there is energy insecurity, and how do we overcome those? So energy as a whole has always been very important. We're always trying to improve operations, but we're also discussing and looking at how do you power the world as well.
Well, obviously here, big topic of conversation over the last 12 months. Oh, the AI factories, look at the amount of energy.
Yeah.
And as you say, well, the chips are getting better, and you have silicon carbide for power electronics and yada, yada, yada. But it's not just, as Dr. Jabbar said in the opening keynote, you have more people moving to cities. Another 2 billion people will be using air conditioning.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time with industrial AI, industrial manufacturing. Everybody wants to bring manufacturing home. They're all automated factories.
Right.
They need energy.
Right.
Plus. So it's not just AI factories need more electricity.
Right.
And geothermal is again, it was about energy addition as opposed to, and geothermal is obviously a growing sector. So.
Absolutely. The other area that, we're working in a lot more lately within NVIDIA is on the nuclear space. I know this is not a nuclear company, a nuclear conference, but
well, there's a few people here, and
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in SMRs,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The sooner the better.
So, it's certainly an area that we have been discussing more and more.
This isn't your first ADIPEC. Any takeaways from this week?
My first ADIPEC was last year.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so I am newer to this conference. I'm always impressed with the turnout, right? Just the people coming. And I've spent a lot of time in the AI zone, unsurprisingly, but I'm happy to see that the conversation is no longer only NVIDIA leading with AI, but now energy companies also leading with AI. Really, it is, incredible what this technology can do. And it's incredible what the possibilities are of opening new markets that didn't exist before, of growing out solutions, not only in this region, but globally. That is, I think, the excitement that you feel in the air, and everyone is discussing it. I've seen some incredible presentations in the AI zone as well of like how they're building different agents for their customers and internally. So really that is, I think, also a shift in the mindset of this industry as well. And not until recently did I hear the companies come forward with AI first as a tool that we're going to leverage to solve different problems. So it's really impressive to hear it. And, it's great to have those conversations now. Some of the barrier to resistance is coming down a little bit.
It's not that, we've created an agentic AI platform or whatever because it was cool and shiny.
No.
We're
Business
driving towards autonomous operations, and to do that, we need to do this. Now we need to break down all the silos as
Yep.
well, and we need to. It's a much more holistic approach as opposed to a point solution with a piece of technology.
Absolutely. And it's also great to see that, finally we've identified what are those business drivers, right? In the beginning, for some time, I think there was a lot of conversation of how do we actually use this for our industry that makes sense, right? Other than it being a shiny, fun toy, which is great. But you're absolutely correct, right? Like those business drivers have been identified. Solutions are being built because they will improve the businesses, because it will improve the industry. So that is, it's really nice to have these conversations. And there's a lot of innovation, right? It is incredible to see what all these companies are doing out here. I've called out a few, but
With I think 1,800 exhibitors,
Yeah.
205,000 attendees.
Right.
It's busy.
It's busy. And I think this will just grow. It will keep growing. But again, like I said, after 200,000, I mean, can you really tell the difference?
No, but it is. But I've been coming here for years, and obviously focusing on the technology, and the technology is here in spades.
Yeah.
But it's the business driver
Yeah.
that's what surprised me, as opposed to I got
Nice
a shiny
to
toy.
have. Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, good stuff. Thank you very
Absolutely.
much.
Very nice. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.